The United States had its ups and downs, its good and its bad, its booms and its crashes, but nothing like the Roaring Twenties and the Great Depression. On November 11, 1918, the U.S. got out of World War I and was still doing great. This is because the U.S. was smart enough to stay out of all the drama and fighting that other countries were having and only came into the war near the end to fight for what was right and to fight for themselves. Surprisingly, the United States was only in $35 million in debt by the end of the war. With the boom of industries, no government involvement in the business, and keeping taxes low, the economy went up, up, up. So many products were being created and being sold as fast as they were made. The Ford Model T was one of the hugest products out there during the 1920s. Henry Ford would produce them so fast and cheap that he was doing great during the time. And because everyone wanted one of these beauties, they bought it on credit. You know, get now and pay later. It was huge in the 1920s. Advertising played a huge part in the 1920s as well. This showed people products, they seemed to really want them and bought them. Times were great and everyone was doing just fine. Many people had confidence in the United States and its banks and stocks and everything that the country was doing. But like many things, this came to an end. The crash happened. Many working people soon became unemployed and many Americans lost their homes because of this and ended up in poverty. As a result, soup kitchens and bread lines were being brought by charitable organizations. Many men, women, and children would stand out in lines waiting to be served. Along with the hunger problems, many people were ending up homeless because they were being evicted of their homes because they could not afford to pay rent. On October 29, 1929, there was a huge collapse on the stock market on Wall Street, later on followed by the Great Depression. When the crash happened, everyone wanted to go to the banks and get their money out, but the banks ran out of money and had to close for a while because of it. Many people in the 1920s would borrow money and were expected to repay it all. Many did, as they were able to earn well. But when the stock market fell, they were unable to pay off all of their debts. Because of the crash, customer spending decreased a lot, which caused factories and companies to eventually fail. As a result, many of these factories had to let go of their workers. They just didn't have the funding to pay people and still run. By 1933, millions of Americans were unemployed and almost half of the U.S. banks had failed because many of the investors who borrowed money failed to pay back the banks. During this time, President Herbert Hoover believed that the government should not intervene on the economy or provide jobs for the unemployed or provide relief for the people. The economy just kept getting worse, and later Roosevelt was elected as president. He handled the situation very calmly, which calmed the people. Within the first 3.5 months of Roosevelt being in office, his administration passed legislation that benefited the people. Its goal was to make industrial as well as agricultural production stabilized again. It also helped to make more jobs for the unemployed. Roosevelt bettered the financial system by creating the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation to protect accounts of the depositors. He also created the Securities and Exchange Commission, which helped regulate the stock market and helped prevent the type of things that led to the crash in the first place. We believe that the Great Depression could have been prevented. Sadly, no one was watching it drop till it was too late. They could have paid a little more attention and put colors and circuit breakers so that they could see that they were falling too rapidly. They also should have thought a little smarter when they noticed the stock market wasn't doing so well, but everyone just ignored it. What I always like to say, what comes up must come down, and the Great Depression was a huge downturn. In fact, some people think of it as the United States stock market digging itself into a deeper and deeper hole and made the United States economy seem to be non-existent.